maybe the interest of the greater good for me to smoke a joint and calm down, smoke a joint and calm down, smoke a joint and calm down, smoke a joint and calm down.
The last 15 years in the United States must have brought tears to the eyes of Lady Liberty. Thank the heavens that her back is turned to the rest of the country's woes. She looked on in 2001 as the towers crumbled down to ground zero. Her eyes went on to witness the Occupy Wall Street shitstorm that ignited Tea Partiers and the then fairly unknown group at the time, Anonymous. This illuminated a different kind of war in the U.S., a civil war of sorts known as class warfare. New York had seen quite their fair share of heartbreak and poverty through the last 15 years. But as we know, the Big Apple does not speak for the whole country. While all of this was going on, Our Lady Liberty's back was turned to the rest of the nation's atrocious poverty, violence, and overall frustrations. She is just waiting for the day that freedom will prevail once again in this great country. She is patient in the quest for freedom. We are all waiting for freedom to not be blanketed by the headline of safety bought by the rich and powerful. Our forefathers still do run this country with their pictures on greenbacks. It's just that their words got lost and used for presidential toilet paper by the last few commanders and their pig nut families. We are seeing horrific school shootings. Terrorist groups like ISIS are murdering journalists like helpless puppies in a back alley. The Taliban, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas, all the while excusing groups like the Ku Klux Klan, the neo-Nazi organizations, and the Westboro Church right here on the home front. This country crucifies people for standing up for their rights, while the powerful knowingly take them away. TV announcement comes over our 60-inch plasma screens, showing a middle-aged robot with plastic hair and a generic accent belonging to a former Iowa farmer with big dreams.
Today, a Middle Eastern terrorist group has just made an attempted bombing on American soil today. And in other news, Congress has passed a law stating that any American citizen and his or her properties can be searched at any time provided that there is a suspicion of terrorist activities determined by said authorities. And now, puppies!
This is the world we're dying in. We live in a country where our greatest news sources come from comedians like Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert, because our news and political analysts are funnier than our stand-up comedians. These men and women have been looking at our news as a ratings game versus being a credible source of information. They have no balls to stand up when they need to, and when they do muster up the little acorns that they do have to say something, they immediately back down and apologize for their exuberance. They're not allowed to tell you the whole truth. Why? Somewhere in the corporation, it would cost them millions of dollars to televise one truth. Then there are the mighty rich, who do try to help. People like comedian Russell Brand. What do you see when one of the rich help the poor? You see journalists actually attacking them about how much their rent is. Nobody attacks a politician who destroyed his marriage with infidelity. When one asked about it not too long ago, he was criticized and almost fired for his nerve to show the kind of man that politician was, Newt Gingrich. People ride on vague generic facts about a multitude of different subjects and then forget about the details because they never looked for the details or the moral of the story to begin with. We live in the age of the Kardashian ass brigade. It is a world where half an ass crack is worth more than to know what the three branches of government and their functions are. We try to destroy the just and put criminals on a pedestal, and even though they do the same thing, we justify it with words like fees, taxes, super PACs, and even war. We live in a world where politicians dictate what a journalist can question, then spin a simple story of two bad choices into a race riot. We go to war with countries that have weapons of mass destruction, and then hide the truth in a web of details and information not pertinent to the original problem. There is no personal responsibility for anything, because our leaders take no responsibility. You must lead by example. One day in the not-so-far future, my Lady Liberty, you will be proud of your children. One day, you will look down with pride and love. One day, we will have respect for ourselves, our siblings, and then, only then, our love will shine up to you, dear Mother Liberty.